Right, so we're going to do about today about the Guerrero family. I thought, why not? So we're going to get like into the basic kind of stuff of them. So like basically the right. I'm going to start with a paragraph about them, just about them in overall, the overview of the Guerrero family. Right, so then we're going to get into the members, like a little paragraphs of each person. I just wanted a quick video today. I was going to do the Dudley Boys, but then I fucking looked at it and I was like, oh my god, that is a lot. I'm not going to do that today because I do not have the time. So we're going to do the Guerrero family, and then I'm going to think about what I'm going to do next. Probably the Dudley Boys. Maybe Ric Flair. I did say I was going to do Ric Flair. I do him. I'm hoping I'm going to get a new one of these masks because this one I can't just keep using it. I was going to use a different one because I have that one. And then also have another one up there. Yeah, we're going to do the Guerrero family. So the Guerrero family is a Mexican-American family that has been involved with professional wrestling for 3 generations. The patriarch of the family, Gory Guerrero, had made his debut on September 15th, 1937. Members of the Guerrero family have worked for virtually all major wrestling promotions around the world, including the World Wrestling Federation / Entertainment, World Championship Wrestling, Extreme Championship Wrestling, NWA, the AWA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, and Total Non-Stop Action Wrestling, and Lucha Underground, and All Elite Wrestling. Might not said the Mexican one right correctly because I'm obviously English. I don't know any other languages. A little bit of French. So I might not have said that right. But now we're going to get into like the members and stuff like that. Obviously, some of you might know Gory, some of you might know Chavo Senior, Mando, Hector. Most of us know Chavo Junior and Eddie. Maybe Shaw because she's did a bit of wrestling, and her husband Aiden English. So we're going to get into those, and obviously everyone knows Vickie. Everyone knows that who she is because she was like one of the most famous WWE villains who didn't wrestle all the time. So yeah, we're going to get into each of the members. Right, so we're going to start with like Gory. So Gory Guerrero, 1921 to 1990, the patriarch of the Guerrero wrestling family, was one of the early pioneers in the Mexican Lucha Libre, and was credited as the creator of the camel clutch. Gory married Herlinda Lanez, whose 3 brothers, Enrique, Mario, and Sergio, were all professional wrestlers. And Enrique's son, Javier, was also a professional wrestler. Together, Gory and Herlinda has 6 children, 2 daughters, 4 sons. Their sons all end up being professional wrestling. So there was Chavo Guerrero Senior, from 1949 to 2017. That's how long he lived for. The eldest son of Gory Guerrero made his debut in 1974 and was active until 2004, where he was released by WWE. And then there's Chavo's son, Chavo Guerrero Jr., who was born in 1917. So Chavo's son made his debut in 1994 as the first 3rd-generation Guerrero to be a professional wrestler. And then there's Mando Guerrero, born in 1950, the 2nd oldest, who started in pro wrestling in 1971, worked mainly in California and with the AWA in the 1980s. And then there was Hector Guerrero, born in 1954, started in professional wrestling in 1977, and at one point worked for WWE as a gobbledygooker, and was working as commentator for the Spanish announced team for TNA until 2015. And then after that is the most famous of the Guerreros, I would say myself, for a lot of the people or the fans of WWE today, I'm wrestling, is Eddie Guerrero. Born 1967 to 2005, The youngest Guerrero brother started in, when was that? Yeah, so there where I was. So Guerrero, the youngest Guerrero brother by 13 years old, but also most well known by 13 years, sorry, but almost the most well known. Eddie married Vickie Guerrero, born in 1968. In 1990, Vickie would become prominent wrestling personality in years following Eddie's death, and then Eddie's and Vickie's daughter, Shaw Guerrero, born in 1990. Eddie and Vickie's daughter made her debut in 2010 under the ring name Raquel Diaz as the second third generation Guerrero to be a professional wrestler. In 2016, Shaw married fellow wrestler Matthew, who wrestled as Aiden English in WWE. Now we are going to get into the history, because if this video will only be like 6 minutes, and that's probably most people's attention for now, but not enough for the Guerrero family. So Guerrero, a legendary luchador, had 4 sons, and all of them became wrestlers. His 2 elder sons, Chavo and Mando, debuted in the same year, 1974. Chavo wrestled in the early part of his career in Los Angeles, California-based NWA Hollywood Wrestling, where he would have won the heavyweight and tag titles many times. In 1976, Chavo formed a tag team with his father, Gory, and the duo wrestled in the NWA Hollywood. They were first members of the Guerrero family to make a tag team, and on February 27th, Chavo and Gory defeated Cole Von Brauner and Senior X to win the NWA America's Tag Team Championship. However, their reign was short, as the next day they lost the title to Roddy Piper and Crusher Voodoo. Gory fell into a semi-retirement, ending his tag team of father and son. Chavo began teaming with other wrestlers in WWA roster and exchanged titles with Piper and Voodoo, while Gory retired in the early 80s. Chavo formed a new tag team with his brother Hector in 1978, where they defeated Black Gordman and Goliath to win the NWA American Tag Team Championship. This was the second tag team made up of the Guerrero family members. This tag team version was better than Chavo's tag team with his father Gory. The two brothers, Chavo and Hector, managed to hold the titles for half a month before losing them to Ron Bass and Dr. Hiro Otta on February 5th. The two brothers teamed with separate wrestlers and exchanged the titles with Ron Bass and his partners before their team ended. Chavo continued his success in the WWE. Hector formed a tag team with his elder brother Mondo, which debuted on June 29th, 1979, where they defeated the Twin Devils for the NWA America's Tag Team Championship. It was Hector's 4th individual reign and Mando's 3rd individual reign. While they're first together, they lost the titles back to the Twin Devils before regaining the titles later that same month. Hector and Mando lost the titles back to Leroy Brown and Alan Courage. They won the titles with separate partners before defeating Ramugo and Mr. Toyo in their reunion in 1982 and their 3rd America's tag title. The next month they lost the titles to Timothy Flowers and Adrian Street. So their 3rd and final reunion in the independent circuit, where they won the UWC Tag Team Championships. Chavo and Hector reunited in the Championship Wrestling from Florida in 1984, when they won the NWA Florida United States Tag Team Championship by defending Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham. They held the titles for 3 months before Chavo quit in September. On October 2nd, Kakawa Samoa substituted Chavo, and they teamed with Hector to defend the titles against Jim Neidhart and Khrushchev. This caused Chavo and Hector to lose the titles to Neidhart and Khrushchev and the team of Chavo and Hector disbanded. In America, in AWA, Chavo and Mando teamed together to go after the AWA World Tag Team Champions held by Diamond Dallas Page's team of Bad Company, but did not win the titles at Super Clash 3, representing the AWA against the CWA. In 1998, Hector, Chavo and Mando defeated the team of Cactus Jack and Team Rock and Roll RPMs. Chavo then formed a 6-man tag team with his brothers Mando and Eddie in 1989 in the Mexican World Wrestling Association. They won the WWA World Tag Team Trios Championship, defeating the American Mercenaries, before losing the titles back to American Mercenaries July 28th. Hector and Eddie formed the tag team in May 1998 in the Carolinas. In base promotion Pro Wrestling Federation. They defeated Super Ninja and Black Angel for the titles. Eddie began an angle with Chavo's son Chavo Guerrero Jr. in 1998, while both were employed by WCW, marking the first time the Guerreros aligned together on a national television. They teamed and feuded with each other during that time until the angle ended when Eddie formed the LWO Latin World Order. The two then reunited WWE on SmackDown brand in 2002, and they formed the tag team called Los Guerreros. They found success on SmackDown, winning the WWE Tag Team Championship twice. The team broke in 2004 after Chavo turned on Eddie due to jealousy stemming from Eddie's popularity. Following the breakup, Los Guerreros, Chavo Guerrero Jr. Was soon joined by his father, Chavo Guerrero Sr., who was later to be known as Chavo Classic, and was primarily used to manage his son throughout the run. Following the Chavo's loss to Eddie at the Royal Rumble, Chavo was jealous of Rey Mysterio in the storyline because Mysterio had sung the theme song to become pay-per-view No Way Out, and became Mysterio. Because Mysterio was Cruiserweight Champion, Guerrero won the Cruiserweight Championship at No Way Out. A few months later on SmackDown, Chavo Guerrero challenged anybody to the match, the title. Jacqueline accepted the challenge and won the title at Judgment Day. Chavo regained the championship with one arm tied behind his back. However, Chavo Classic won the title by accident on the next week's SmackDown in a triple threat match when Spike Dudley knocked him out onto Chavo. Chavo Classic went on to hold the belt for about a month before it lost it to Rey Mysterio. Chavo Classic later was fired by WWE for no-showing. He felt he should have been portrayed as a legend rather than a comedy act. The Guerreros would then reunite in WWE in 2006 when the widow of Eddie Guerrero, Vickie Guerrero, acted as a manager / valet for Chavo, who was upset about Eddie's name being used as a non-Guerrero, namely Rey Mysterio, with whom they maintained their first feud with. The duo used the cheating tactics that made the Guerrero family famous, though this time to dismay of the audience instead of the delight. It wasn't long after that the end of their feud with Rey and Chris Benoit, another close friend of Eddie, started questioning their motives, leading to the feud between Benoit over the course of the next few months, with Chavo becoming the number one contender to Benoit's United States Championship through failing at each opportunity, mainly because of Vickie's actions constantly getting him disqualified, leading to Vickie leaving Chavo. She soon after declared in late January backstage in interviews with Crystal Marshall that she would be returning to SmackDown soon, though disappeared off WWE television directly after. It wasn't all until mid-February at No Way Out 2007 that Chavo became Cruiserweight Champion after emerging victorious in a Cruiserweight Open, which saw him as a surprise entry. Surprise entry, pinning Jimmy Wang Yang to eliminate him at last and win the title from Gregory Helms, ending Helms' more than a year-long reign. So in 2008, Chavo and Vickie would form an extended family with Vickie's lover Edge. After interference by Edge allowed Chavo to win ECW Championship, the stable referred to on-screen as La Familia, and also included the rated R entourage, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, and Chavo's then bodyguard Bam Neely. La Familia broke up later that year after Vickie and Edge's relationship troubles led to the return of The Undertaker. Vickie and Chavo would ally with The Big Show to keep The Undertaker off their backs. Later, Chavo and Vickie would also realign with returning Edge in 2009. Vickie took advantage of Randy Orton's attacks on the McMahon family to take control of both Raw and SmackDown. Vickie would later leave SmackDown to become permanent general manager of Raw, leaving Edge on SmackDown, although their kayfabe marriage was remained intact. Chavo would be subsequently drafted to Raw, continuing his role as Aunt Vickie's gopher, although constantly overriding her authority by booking matches. In 2010, Vickie became the official consultant to then General Manager of SmackDown, Theodore Long. Chavo then began supporting Vickie and her new storyline lover, Dolph Ziggler, in 2011. Chavo was released from WWE and in Los Guerreros. However, Vickie remained with the company until June 2014. So obviously, with their family tree, the daughters were all like Maria and Linda, and then Eddie and Vickie also had another daughter called Sherilyn, and then Eddie had a daughter with a different woman called Kaylee when them two were broken up, like Vickie and Eddie were on a break, I think. I might actually do a video on Eddie. Yeah, I'll go more in depth into that probably in a different video about how they had a bit of a break and about Eddie's struggles and everything like that. This was just a quick video I wanted to do. I was originally going to do Dudley Boys, but they had a bigger history, I believe. So yeah, this is just a quick one for everyone.